Welcome to Television Sydney News. I'm Farah Abdurrahman. It's great to have you with us. In this week's bulletin, a call for staff numbers to be boosted on major railway lines to improve safety. The state government to pour millions into the Blacktown Mount Druitt Hospital expansion, and embarrassing bodies put under the spotlight in Parramatta. But first, former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd received a rock star's welcome when he visited Hurstville on Wednesday. Mr Rudd was mobbed when he arrived for a street walk in Forest Road to support Labor candidate for Barton, Steve McMahon. Mr Rudd revelled in the reception, showing off his fluent Mandarin while speaking with members of the Chinese community. The former PM is expected to continue campaigning in Western Sydney in coming weeks when he ventures to Chifley, the seat held by his supporter, Ed Husic. Mr Husic spoke out in support of Mr Rudd regaining party leadership earlier this week, but many stallholders at Parklea markets expressed their disappointment with Labor when Television Sydney News conducted a poll this week. Artie Hoko says she would be more likely to vote for Labor if Mr Rudd was in charge.
She should never have taken him out in the first place. I mean, the people voted him in, we want him in, so he should have stayed there.
I think he saw things in a better perspective and managed money a bit better, and I saw him as a better leader than Julia Gillard.
The Labor government's made a lot of mistakes in their term. I find that they've spent a lot of money unnecessarily, put the country in so much debt, and it's going to take us a long, long time to get that debt paid off.
I don't think it would really matter at all. I think they're both weak and they've both got no strength to show the public, so I wouldn't vote any more or less with either which one's in.
A lobby group is calling for staff numbers to be boosted on the Glenfield and Campbelltown railway lines to ease safety concerns. Preston's resident, Diana Vincent, a member of the Sydney Alliance, is one of many Western Sydney residents who feel unsafe travelling on trains at night. The Alliance is campaigning to lift RailCorp's security staffing levels to at least 2 at key interchange stations at night. Ms Vincent says it's important for people to feel safe at railway stations so they continue to use public transport. The state government will pour $83 million into the Blacktown Mount Druitt Hospital expansion over the coming financial year. Health Minister Gillian Skinner says a new clinical services building will be at the centre of an ongoing $324 million spend. The work is due to be completed in 2015. New South Wales Health has also released an artist's impression of how the hospital will look after the upgrade is finished. Treasurer Mike Baird announced $1.2 billion has been earmarked for health capital works in next week's state budget. Mr Baird says the long-term leasing of Port Botany and Port Kembla have helped pay for the improvements. A World War II veteran has been left insulted by a blunder that led authorities to question his citizenship. 89-year-old John Fowler from Camden says the Australian passport he held for 60 years had lapsed. Recently widowed, the ex-RAF veteran wanted to travel and needed to renew his passport. But Mr Fowler, who migrated to Australia as a 9-year-old, was shocked to discover the Department of Immigration and Citizenship was not satisfied he was an Australian citizen. Mr Fowler can't understand the blunder and was left hurt by the decision. The department is yet to respond. When disaster struck New Zealand in February 2011, it was instinct for Liverpool Police Sergeant Glenn Harrison to lend a helping hand. Sergeant Harrison was among 122 New South Wales officers deployed as part of Operation Monroe. New South Wales Police were sworn in as special constables, helping with general duties and patrolling the earthquake-affected zones. Sergeant Harrison and 3 of his colleagues were presented with a dress distinction ribbon in the colours of Canterbury for their service at a citation ceremony at the Art Gallery of New South Wales last week. All Henny Penny had to contend with was the sky falling down. But today, where there are chickens, there are foxes, hawks, goannas, feral cats and rats, all looking for a quick feed.
3 consecutive mornings I came out and found the skeleton of a bird with a pile of dirty feathers and wondered what was going on. And on the 4th morning, I realised that we had a rat killing these birds during the night and attacking adult silky hens.
But Lee of Glenorrhy has come up with a novel way to foil the rats. She catches all 88 of her silkies every night and places them in 17 wire baskets for their own protection until morning.
When I first was basketing the birds, it was taking me half an hour to put them in, and then I timed myself about 6 weeks down the track, and I was very proud to find that I was doing it in 13 minutes.
But the rats are not the worst of her problems. Miss Evans says a friend in Galston lost 4 chickens to an eagle, and avian veterinarian Kathy Fernside says a Glenorrhea woman had all but 1 chicken eaten by a goanna. Siblings from Mount Annan have kicked off what promises to be a glittering international musical career. String musicians and brothers Carol and Daniel Kowalik are part of the prestigious Orava String Quartet, selected to be the graduate string quartet in residence at the University of Colorado. They began their residency in August 2012 and are back at home to participate in the Asia Pacific Chamber of Music competition in Melbourne. Lovers of gardens and wildlife have the chance to go behind the scenes at the Australian Botanic Garden in Mount Annan. The garden will host a Twilight Highlights tour around its 416 hectares on June 22. Many wildlife species call the garden home, including wallaroos, lizards, echidnas, and more than 180 species of birds. Forget motivational talks, a Carlingford company is helping underprivileged kids and local businesses through a team building program. Build a Bike provides children's charities such as Ozchild and Kids Wish Network with new bikes built by businesses. The program also gives employees the opportunity to learn more about team skills, salesmanship and customer service. It was developed several years ago by Thrill Team Events Director Conrad Lipman after he discovered the American concept. Mr. Lipman says the program aims to build morale within businesses.
Bike build up from the ground, and at the same time we're building their teamwork by getting people to understand further about their role in a team and how that they're relied upon to make the whole mechanism of that team work together.
As a team, colleagues build a BMX stunt bike which is then checked for soundness by mechanics.
There's that nice gift of giving, whereby they're getting to see the kid and their reaction of receiving a brand new gift and knowing that they've made something worthwhile to give and present and bring into the community, because these kids come from the local community that these businesses operate in.
When life gave Silvio Canova a huge lemon, he called the media. The 1.8 kilogram fruit in his Bosley Park front yard looks like a lemon. It also tastes like one, but is known as a cedro. Measuring 25 centimetres by 45 centimetres, the fruit is by far the biggest cedro that 72-year-old Mr. Canova has grown. But despite its size, the cedro doesn't have much juice, and the flesh is thick and edible. A Seven Hills resident involved in a trial phone program to help domestic violence victims has won an industry award. Suzette Poe Williams, a customer service manager at Central Monitoring Services, monitors an SOS alarm system linked to the company's 24-hour monitoring centre. The system uses sophisticated GPS technology and a dedicated phone line linked to police, allowing a police car to be quickly dispatched to the exact location of the caller. Suzette last week won an Australian Security Industry Excellence Award for her efforts. The trial was funded by the Community Services Department, and New South Wales Police are also providing resources. A calf has caused concern among Bringelly residents after getting its head stuck inside a discarded fiberglass toilet bowl. Unable to eat and drink for more than 2 days, the young male was in a panic. RSPCA Inspector Donna Morgan says the calf had to be tranquilised before a saw was used to free it from the toilet. The RSPCA believe the calf became stuck in the bowl when trying to eat grass that had grown up through it. Apart from a small skin irritation, the calf is expected to make a full recovery from his ordeal. And in sport, they're one game away from qualifying for the World Cup, but 3-star Socceroos have taken time out to drop into a Parramatta school. Luke Wilkshire, Ryan McGowan and Matt McKay were grilled by Parramatta Public School students in a mock sport panel during their visit. The players, who answered questions on their greatest achievement, future goals and best advice, are in camp training for the World Cup qualifying match next week.
Nothing to get too excited about. Yeah, great result and a couple of good performances, but it all counts for nothing if we don't win on Tuesday.
The Socceroos face Iraq in Sydney on Tuesday in a bid to qualify for their 3rd successive FIFA World Cup. At 80, Stephen Bergman is the oldest known A-grade football player in the world. Mr. Bergman, who was captured by the Nazis in his native Hungary at the age of 12, has played and coached football all his life. He still runs around with the Sanssouci 45A side, whose members are mostly 30 years his junior. His feat was confirmed after FIFA checked the Guinness Book of World Records. To honour him, Mr. Bergman will be paraded before the crowd at next Tuesday's World Cup qualifier between the Socceroos and Iraq at ANZ Stadium. Kevin Sheedy and David Koch have faced off ahead of the contest between their AFL teams this weekend. Sheedy says the GWS Giants would be treating their game against the Port Adelaide Power on Sunday as a grand final. Sheedy thinks he's chosen the right combination of players to beat the Power, who've lost 5 games in a row. TV host Koshi is chairman of the Power, which is one of the 2 teams beaten by the Giants last year. The Giants did lose a game against the Power earlier this year, so this weekend's game will be a grudge match for both sides. Koshi says the game will be a challenging one for both teams. And finally, Western Sydney residents have showed off their most embarrassing body problems in Parramatta. While it may sound a little strange, attending the big white van in Church Street Mall was all part of filming for Foxtel's newest show, Embarrassing Bodies Down Under. The show is an Australian version of a long-running British series which aims to help people deal with ailments they have been ashamed to fix. Local doctors Ginny Mansberg, Sam Hay and Brad McKay will be joining British host Christian Jessen to help diagnose the embarrassing health problems. Dr. Hay says the show gave people a chance to assess their healthcare in a safe environment.
Empower them, show that there's no shame, show that they can get help for their problems.
He says problems with backsides have popped up a lot so far.
I think a lot of people struggle with issues down below. It's a private thing we deal with in the toilet on our own, and so that's been issues with the back passage has certainly shown up a lot.
And that's all for this bulletin. For more information on any of these stories, pick up your local Fairfax community newspaper. I'm Farah Abdurrahman. We'll see you next time.